friends. It's Leah. Looks like I am live, but there always is a little bit of a delay. So I'm just going to wait and make sure. Oh, there I am. Let me mute that real quick. All right. Well, I see there's a few people here. So if you can, let me know you're here in the comments. I would love to say hi. Hope you guys have had a good weekend so far. I'm gonna get this pulled up on my phone here real quick. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Teresa. Yay. Teresa, so excited that you signed up. Hi, Donna. Happy you're here today, friend. All right, there's my live on my phone. So I have that. So when I go to do a little crafting, I'll still be able to see you guys. Hi, Joan. Thanks for joining me today. All right, so I got kind of a resounding Rainbow Florals reply from my question on Instagram stories. That's definitely where I got the most replies. I think I just got like 3 in my YouTube community here, and those were stamps and stencils mostly. So I've already used the washi tape on a card. So I thought, and I haven't used the stamps and stencil yet. So I thought I would use those tonight since I haven't used them. Kind of fitting. Can break them in and see the best way to use them tonight. So I'm glad you guys are going to hang out with me for a bit. I didn't really prep much of anything other than pulling out products that I think I'm going to use. So this is, you know, just kind of impromptu, not like real professional. This isn't like live on the Pinkfresh Studio channel. This is just live with me. So hi, Alana. Thanks for joining me. So I may go a little over an hour. I am not like the fastest crafter in the world. If you watch Heather and I on lives on Pinkfresh Studio, she runs circles around me in terms of how quickly she crafts. So I have a couple fun things going on. Hi, Ruth. Thanks for joining me today. So I have a couple of fun things going on. So I launched registration for my very first virtual craft night. I know a lot of you have already registered to attend, which is super exciting. I appreciate that so much. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I am excited about how the freebie, I say freebie, you guys are paying registration, but the printables that will be available, I'm excited how those are coming together. I'm actually going to print them myself and also get them done at a printer just to see the difference. So that's something that I'll share that night. And then during the scheduled Zoom crafting chats, I just have like a couple of fun ideas that will be, I think, just like kind of a fun way to connect and have fun and chat with each other while we're also being a little crafty. Yes, and so Jennifer here, she's all signed up. So Jennifer is actually one of my patrons and my brand new, that's the other exciting thing I have going on, is I started a Patreon community. I have no idea if, the way you say that is patron or Patreon. I know that the people that sign up are considered your patrons. So I'm really not sure how you say it, but whatever. Jennifer is on the Connect squad on one of my patrons. So she actually gets free access to the virtual event for that. So I have all of that linked in this video description, kind of down at the bottom because I linked supplies too in case you were interested in what I'm using tonight. But down at the very bottom of the video description, there's a link to the virtual craft night registration. And there is a link to my Patreon community if you want to check it out and see if that's something you'd be interested in signing up for. All right, well, we should probably get crafty because I know that what beautiful, glorious day. It was all bright and sunshiny. And then it got clouded over. So it's going to be, so it's a little dark. I think this camera will be much better than the one that is facing me. And I'll just keep an eye on it. And if I need to turn on a couple more lights or go in and manually up the brightness, I sure will. But hopefully we'll make it through and it won't be pitch black. So give me a minute. I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera around and we are going to start creating something. Okay, so it's probably a little bright right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it down for now. And if I need to up that brightness back up, I will. Okay, so this is our Rainbow Florals product suite. Now it coordinates with the brand new Rainbow Florals washi tape. And I will pull this out for you to see. It's a glorious washi tape. We were so excited with how this turned out. This was illustrated by one of our illustrators that we, one of our freelance illustrators that we often, she does a lot of our washi tape designs for us. She's beautiful at watercolor. And we were super excited with how this rainbow version turned out. But I thought today, because I haven't used them yet, and I did get some requests for stamps with layering stencils, that I would go ahead and I would use the stamps and stencils today. And I'm going to do my own color combination. So I'm not actually going to do them in rainbow colors. I am going to do them actually in light oranges and kind of corally tones. And then of course, I think I'm going to do my leaves in just normal greenery, not aqua greenery today. Give it kind of a fresh spring feel. Super excited. Yes. And thank you, Ruth. I really appreciate that. Definitely love you guys if you gave the video a thumbs up. That's super helpful for it just being able to be seen both now and on replay. So I do really appreciate that. Hi, Susie. Thanks for joining me. Glad you're here. I'm just getting started. I'm just chatting about what I'm going to use today, which is the Rainbow Florals. So I think I'm going to do a little foiling too, but I think I'm actually going to do the stamping and ink blending first, and then we will switch over and do the foiling. Thanks, Joan. Susie, we were watching the Masters too. We had it on. Now I'm going to say a couple of things. My husband is playing video games, so you may hear him. My dogs are a little, they're not sure which room they want to be in, so they're a little tappy. So you might hear their cute little tappy feet here and there. And then of course, our neighbors across the way have decided this is the perfect time to practice their faulting, and they have one of those like metal goalposts, and I'm not really sure what comes through on this video through this microphone and what does and what doesn't. So if you hear these loud clanks, like metal clanks, that's what it is, and I can't help it. Okay, so I am going to stamp the Rainbow Florals. Now these are those big stamps. They're 4x12 in size. So I do all of the, I'm the marketing director for Pinkfresh Studio, and I also, part of my job is I photograph all of our products. And so I always tape the top down because it drives me crazy when in the photo it's sticking straight up. And then I just leave the tape on there because it also drives me crazy in my project images when they stick straight up as well. So I just kind of tend to leave the tape there and stick it in place. Oh, thanks, Donna. I appreciate that. Okay, so we got this big long stamp here. Oh, good. Perfect. I'm glad that you can't hear the clanking because it's actually really super annoying. Okay, so a couple of tips about these big stamps. One thing that we suggest, I've actually never removed this from this stamp set yet. So one thing that we suggest is actually peeling the acetate away from the stamp versus the other way around. And the reason being is, while photopolymer is absolutely sturdy, these are really big stamps and you don't want to run the risk of stretching them. So I feel like if you pull away the acetate, you don't run that risk of stretching those stamps a little bit. And it comes off nice and easy. My acetate didn't even curl up that much because I was good about doing it in sections. And now we have our big stamp set out. Now I'm going to show you, this is my standard Misty. And this stamp is too big to fit this way, to fit horizontally. As you can see up here, it gets a little stuck. So the one way that I do this, you can do that method where you tape your Misty down, you put it on the lid and stamp that way. But I'm going to want to double stamp this, meaning I'm going to stamp it now and then I'm going to stamp it again after I ink blend. So that doesn't really work because I need my desk space for ink blending as well. So the great thing about the Rainbow Floral stamp set is it does fit at your Misty in a diagonal. The other thing you can do, and we mentioned this in our washi tape class the other day, is you can cut your stamps as well and make them work for you. But I like doing it this way because I don't know that my preference is to cut my stamps in half if I don't have to. So I like to get it just at a nice angle. You do use more paper this way, but that doesn't bother me too much because that gives me some extra paper to, tape down to my glass mat when I'm ink blending and keep it in place. So the Misty mat is 6.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I'm going to just trim down some cardstock real quick for that. And I didn't do any prep work, so I didn't trim anything down. So you guys are going to get to see me pretty much do everything here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this down. This is just an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Hammermill white, 100-pound white cardstock. I know it's already 8.5 inches this way, so I'm just going to trim it down to 6.5 here. And it will fit right into my Misty. Now, if it's a little loud in here right now, my husband is feeding one of our dogs. So that is why you might hear lots of little tappy feet. She loves food. So she's kind of a little food addict. Yep, there she is. Okay. So gotta figure out where I need to put these magnets so they won't get in my way of stamping. But we'll still hold down the paper nice and in place. All right. So I think we're good. You're going to notice a lot when I'm doing this, because I know I'm going to double stamp when all is said and done, that I will probably pick these magnets up a couple more times and make sure that my cardstock is in this corner, because I don't want to run the risk of that haloing effect after doing all of the hard work of ink blending. So this is a tip that we do often in Pinkfresh Lives. So I'm actually going to stamp these in a darker gray dye ink because it dries quickly. Now, in the end, these are going to have a nice crisp black outline using our detail black ink. But because that ink is hybrid, it needs a little time to dry. And so what I have found is I also just really like to restamp that impression after ink blending, even if I'm going to stamp it in the same exact color, because I tend to think that after you ink blend over your stamped image, it tends to dull that stamp impression just a little bit. So I like getting that extra crisp impression of doing the restamp afterwards. And this stamping doesn't have to be perfect. You'll see that it kind of transferred. I do see where I had a little bubble in there. I didn't put my stamp down quite perfectly on the mat, but that's okay because that's going to get die cut away. So definitely not worried about that at all. Then I'm going to go ahead and just wipe down my stamp. Oh, hi, Wendy. I'm so glad you joined me. I'm going to wipe my stamp down, but I'm going to leave it in place because like I mentioned, I want to be able to restamp this. So we are going to leave it in the Misty, and I'm just going to set my Misty out of sight here for a minute. And then we're going to get going on all the ink blending. So this mostly happened right here because I saw that there was a little bubble underneath my stamp that I didn't I didn't see before stamping, but like I said, we're going to end up cutting that away, so not a big deal. All right, so the stencils. This is a 4-piece stencil set, and you're going to notice that I'm actually going to end up doing these a little bit out of order. So I typically like to do flowers first and then my leaves and greenery. And the way that the stencils are currently numbered are, oh, I got these out of order. The way that the stencils are currently numbered is stencil 1 and flipped. Stencil 1 is the first layer of greenery. Stencil 2 is the first layer of flowers. Stencil 3 is the second layer of flowers. And then stencil 4 is the second layer of greenery. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take stencil 1 and I'm gonna put it over here with that second layer of greenery. So I am going to start technically with stencil number 2. That's just my preference when it comes to doing stencils. Definitely use stencils the way that you prefer, of course. Ooh. This washi tape, I think, is getting old. So it's getting to that point where it's a little bit harder to, it's also getting down to the end, where it's a little bit harder to remove from itself. And so it tears. And that's why, friends, it's really important to just use up your washi tape because it does have a shelf life. So make sure that you are using your washi tape up. So I'm just going to go ahead and tape this paper panel down to my desk. There are so many ways to do this. And I think everyone has their own preference. This just happens to be my preference for making sure that the paper isn't going to move on me. And then I will also tape down the stencils when I do this. Ruth, that's a good idea. So I can't really Sharpie up my stencils because I do use them in promotional photography. So I just kind of make do with, I have put them in the light, the reflection of the light a lot so that I can see which one is which. So when you're using stencils with a stamped or foiled or heat embossed image, you won't use the little guidelines that are in the corner of the stencils. Those are meant for when you are using the stencils alone for that, kind of soft, no line color feel, but you will ignore those when you are using them with the stamped or foiled image. And you will then align each one to here it is, this is what I'm looking for. This is my 2-inch Post-it tape that I love. Sorry, lost my train of thought. You will align the stencil to the stamped image. Now, something to keep in mind about Pinkfresh Studio stencils is we keep them whimsical. So they don't always line up perfectly. You might have them where they go just a tiny bit out of the lines, or they leave a little white space here and there. So something that you might not know, and the reason, our reason behind doing it this way, that more whimsical feel, is that there is about a 2%, what do they call it? It's like a 2% leeway each way when it comes to stamp designs. And so they can be sized, they can be a little bit smaller, they can be a little bit bigger. And while 2% doesn't seem like much, if you're trying to be super exact with a stencil, you can really run into issues where they won't be. And that's why we choose to make our stencils have a little bit more of a whimsical feel. Yeah, Joan. So that is definitely a case. So this is not Pinkfresh washi tape. This is Alexandra Runke washi tape that is gorgeously stunning, but I've had it for a long time. I think we're going on like year 3 or 4 that I've had this. So for me, I have found that, I guess, based on like the climate of where I live, with how my washi tapes are stored, I store them in a drawer in a little like rolly cart bin thing that I have. And I guess based on where I live, that is about 3 to 4 years is what seems to be when my washi tape gets to be a little bit harder to pull from the roll. So just a little bit of information there on that. Okay, so I'm gonna get my little I'm gonna get two of them out, my ink stand. I'm gonna get two of them out. I'm probably gonna put them this way. So hopefully you'll be able to see them fairly well because I'm going to use multiple colors. So this first stencil that I'm using, which is technically, pardon me, stencil number 2, is the first layer of flowers. But I want the flowers all to be, I want them to have a mixture of both colors. So I am going to, that's just what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm going to grab my, oops, that's not the right brush. I have a blending brush that is specifically the only ever color that's ever been used on this brush is Coral Reef, because Coral Reef is my very favorite Pinkfresh color. And I never wanted to accidentally get ruined by another color. So I do this is the only color that has ever touched the surface of this brush. And then I have this one for my very light oranges, like for Pinkfresh here, or excuse me, for Peach Fuzz. Yes, Susie, I agree. Alexandria Renke washi is gorgeously stunning. I have a ton of it and I don't use it super often. So I mostly use it for taping down projects. So, but at least I get to look at pretty washi tape when I'm taping down paper panels. Okay, so this is a Pinkfresh Studio life-changing brush. This is Tailored Expressions. These are typically the two brushes that you'll see me use when I'm ink blending. Mostly Tailored Expressions. I just have a couple of life-changing ones that fill in for colors that I don't have a pretty colored handle for. So, all right, I'm going to take the lids off of these because I'm going to be kind of ink blending the colors together. And most people would start probably up here at the top, but I actually think I'm going to start at the bottom. And I'm going to do two-toned roses here. So I'm going to do a little bit of Coral Reef on one side, and then I'm going to take it over, and I'm going to do a little bit of Peach Fuzz on the other side. Then I'm going to come back with Coral Reef and kind of blend them in together. Now, I like to wipe my stencils off as I go with a dry microfiber cloth, just because I find it, that makes it so I don't accidentally put my finger into ink and then run the risk of ruining my project down the road. So you'll see me from time to time, I'll go ahead and I'll wipe my stencil down. All right. So these are, I feel like these are going to be really pretty. These are going to be really lovely colors together. Very springy. I'm ready for spring. We had a really lovely weekend. And then I think we have a fairly lovely tomorrow, and then we get back down into the 30s again. So, but such is spring in Minnesota. That is to be expected. But I do think I'm kind of at the end of my rope with cold weather right now. I think I'm definitely ready for it to be warmer. I think we are going to be traveling to Texas to visit my in-laws. We'll work remotely from Texas for, I think it's like 2 to 3 weeks soon. So hopefully it'll be warm when we're down there. Okay. All right. So we are in the part that's a wreath. Joan, 30 is unacceptable. I agree, especially in April. Doesn't bother me. January, February, March, I'm fine. April, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm over it. So, but it's where I live, so I got to deal with it. All right, so I'm just kind of basically, I think what I'm going to do here is, as far as it will let me anyway, I might end up having a couple of colors face each other. I'm just going to kind of blend in just the swoop of the wreath here, and just kind of but one color into the next. Joan, I will be close to Tyler, Texas, in a smaller town. They live kind of in out in the country, in Van County, near a little tiny town called Van. Yeah, yeah. January can be a bit brutal in my area, Ruth. I definitely agree with you on that. I'm a homebody though, and I love the snow, so it doesn't bother me too much, especially not in January because I'm used to it in January. I'm prepared for it in January, and I should be prepared for it in April too. I think just by April, I'm sick of it, like super sick of it. So I've told my husband when at some point when we don't have elderly dogs that we our two dogs are very old, and so they require quite a bit of attention. And so I've said that after they're no longer with us, we should work remotely in April from somewhere warm. All right, so I've got my first layer here, and I'm really liking how it looks. I'm gonna go ahead and put the coral reef and the peach fuzz away. And let's go ahead and take a peek at this first layer. All right, well, that's fun, isn't it? And so I don't know if you guys can see what I can see, but it's what I said earlier, where I feel like as you ink blend over top of your stamping, it doesn't do this with heat embossing, of course, because you've got that beautiful heat set and you just wipe it away. But I don't know if you noticed that feeling, that what I'm saying, where I feel like as you ink blend over top of stamping, it kind of dulls the stamping a little bit. So I like to keep my stamp in the MISTI so I can restamp over top of it and get a nice crisp impression. All right, so we're on to stencil number 3, which is the detail layers of the flowers, but it's also these cute little berries. So your best bet when you're lining up this stencil is to line up the berries as best as you can. Keep in mind they are a little whimsical. All right. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Because those are the only things that haven't had any color on them yet. So those typically are the easiest thing to line up. All righty. I think I'm Hi, Juliet. Thanks for joining me. I kind of botched that, so give me a second here. I just ticked it out of place when. All right, there we go. Much better. Oh, I'm glad you guys are liking these colors together. I thought it seemed kind of nice and soft and pastel for as we enter into spring here. All right, so this next layer is going to just be the next step up in each color. So apricot and passion fruit. So Juliet, my one of my like very long time goals is to someday in my life get to Australia. It's like a dream vacation for me. So hopefully one day that will be a reality. Okay, friends. So these layers are a little bit smaller, and you could certainly use your larger brushes. I tend to prefer to use my smaller brushes for these. If you don't have smaller brushes, that's not a big deal. You just grab a couple pieces of Post-it tape or masking tape, and you can mask so that you have a little bit more control over them. But because I do have my smaller brushes, I'm going to use these today to just give me a little bit more control over
because I did the two-tone colors as well. So if you were doing this all in one color, less of a big deal. But because I did the two-tone colored roses, I want to make sure that I can continue that two-tone in their details as well. So it's nice to have the smaller brushes for that two-tone look. And I think for this, I'm just going to go ahead and start getting all of the passion fruit done. I haven't completely decided what color I want the berries to be. So if you guys have any thoughts, any thoughts on what color I should do the berries in, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear. I'm not sure if I want to do them one of these colors or a darker shade in the, either the oranges or the reds, or even maybe a completely different color. So let me know. Oh, for sure. If I'm going to Australia, I'm going to be gone for a long enough time that I could definitely go to New Zealand as well. Okay. So we are just doing a little bit of detail work here. Oh, it's fall. I didn't think about the fact that it's fall in that area of the world right now. So we're entering into spring and you guys are entering into fall. That's right. I always forget about that. Yeah. Oh, we have totally had snow in May before. I actually think a couple of years ago, we actually had a blizzard in May where we got like 18 inches of snow. It only took like a couple of days for it to melt, but still we had blizzard conditions in May. It was either end of April or early May, but still. Oh. All right, so then we're going to go ahead and blend in the orange details. This is apricot colored. This is our apricot ink. Okay. Oh, Leah, don't put that in coral reef or matte passion fruit. Goodness, Leah, that was dumb. All right. Yes, Juliet, fall is my favorite season too. That's like the season I live for. I like summer for a short period of time, but then I don't deal well with being too hot. So I live for fall, which in my neck of the woods is always too short. Okay, so I think I like how that looks. I still am not completely sure what color I want to do these berries in. It's possible maybe I'll do a little mixture of both, actually. All right, I just want to take a little peek. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Coming along here. All right, so I think I didn't pull them out, but they're not too far away. I think I'm going to grab the next color up in each of these. So that would be Berrylicious and Clementine. I'm going to go ahead and get my brush kind of cleaned off here. All right. So here's what I think I'll do. Okay. So I'll just kind of, whatever color it's closest to, I'll do the other color just to give it more variation. And then there's just two where they have berries alone. So I'll just pick one of the colors for that. So I'm going to go ahead. This is Berrylicious. We're going to just do some nice berry colored berries down here. And so for this one, I think we're going to do these guys in berry because it's a little closer to the orange, and then I'll save those for the clementine shade. And then, so I'm going to do those ones in orange. So these guys will be berry for sure, as will these ones. And then I think I'm going to leave these guys orange, and then I'm going to do those orange too, since we've got a little lone wolf down here that already has red in its place. All right. I think we're done with the Berrylicious. So I'm going to clean that so I don't get my hand in it. And I'm going to wipe my brush off too. All right, so let's get the red. I'm going to be kind of gentle about cleaning that red because I don't want to run it over anywhere where it could kind of get into the orange. All right, so then let's go ahead and do clementine, and let's get our clementine berries ink blended here. Oh yeah, I think I like the darker tones for the berries. I think that was a good call. All right. So while we're ink blending, because this can get a little boring because the next two stencils are super easy. They're just greenery. So while we're ink blending, I'd love to hear what you guys are doing this evening. We are just kind of hanging out at home. We'll have some dinner. Probably just going to heat up leftovers. We have some leftover taco salad ingredients that we need to use up. So I think that's what we're going to do. Okay. So stencil number 3 is finished. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this off here. And let's take a look at how fun that turned out. And then once I stamp those stamp details in again, oh, this is going to be fantastic. Okay, stencil, we are now back to stencil number 1. And that is just all of the greenery that we have. So I'm going to get that nice and lined up here. There we go. Get it taped down. Oh, awesome. Jen is doing, Jennifer, I don't know. Tell me what you prefer to be called, Jennifer or Jen. Is working on some design team projects. Donna is crafting along with me. That's awesome. I love that. I love to hear that. Susie is hanging out. Patricia just had guests. Oh, Patricia, I didn't think I saw you jump on. Hi there. Sorry if I missed seeing you in the comments. I might have been looking down. But I'm glad you were able to join me as well, since you had guests. All right, and I always take a little extra time to get leaves lined up because they always take me the longest. Because I just want to make sure that they look right. Ooh, Wendy finished 2 birthday cards and an envelope. Wow, that is fantastic. Wendy, I think I'm going to read tonight as well after we have dinner. So if you guys follow me on Instagram at all, you'll know that I have been having some really bad eye issues lately. So I got diagnosed with severe dry eye, and I ended up damaging the cornea on my right eye. But I'm finally feeling, after doing what my ophthalmologist told me to do, I'm starting to feel better. And I'm starting to, I can finally read again. I couldn't even read. That was how bad my eyes have been the last couple of months. So, okay, good. Patricia just got here, so I didn't miss her. Okay, so this is the first layer of leaves. I am going to use Fresh Pear, which is just a nice shade of springy light green in our collections. Our other shade is Mint, and I just wasn't feeling that for this one. I wanted the more grassy, springy, new, fresh new leaf life, basically. So this whole panel is, this whole stencil layer is all green. So I went back to my normal size brush. I don't need the little brush. I don't think I'll need the little brush on the next stencil either. I think I'm going to be able to stick with my larger ones, so they'll go a little quicker. Well, thank you, Donna. I appreciate that. So all of that said about my eyes is I'm finally able to start reading again. That was one of my big goals this year, is to read more, and then was doing great in January. And then kind of mid-February, my eyes really started bothering me a lot. And then my one eye went real bad. And then it took forever to get into an ophthalmologist. So just hasn't been fun. But thank you. I appreciate that. So that being said, I am also going to read a little bit tonight. Thanks, Joan. I know it was really scary. So I am very blessed to have always had a very perfect vision. I've never had any vision problems whatsoever. But when you damage the cornea of your eye, it's one, you're super sensitive to light, and two, your vision is very blurry. And so that was very scary for me, because I've never dealt with that before. I've never felt that before. So I was worried it was permanent damage. And so while it's not perfectly clear yet, especially at far distances, closer up is totally back to normal, which makes me feel very happy. All right. Okay, I think we're good. So I don't know if you guys noticed when I was doing this, I tend to blend a little deeper in areas and then blend it out and let it be a little bit lighter. And that just, for me, helps give the image just a little bit more depth. So Susie, I don't know if I agree with that, but it is really painful though. I do agree. It's right up there. Okay. Oh, Ruth. So mostly I use, these are Tailored Expressions brand. And then I throw in the Pinkfresh Studio Life Changing brushes when I don't have a colored handle that matches the color family. So this is my Coral Reef brush, because I don't have a good option for Coral Reef. There is this really light pink, but I actually use this for my light pinks, not Coral Reef. So I just use a combination of mostly Tailored Expressions with a Pinkfresh Studio Life Changing brush thrown in here and there. Okay, so now I need to switch out to, I'm going to move Olive over here a little closer to me. That's the green I'm going to use. Now I'm making a big jump in greens, and I've just been noticing lately that I actually really like this big jump. Typically when I would ink blend like this, I would only do like the next color up. But I've been really enjoying lately using that lighter shade for your base of your leaves and then going up to the darkest shade in the same family to do the details. I don't know why, it's just kind of been my jam lately. So I'm going to stick with it. Now I find these details always to be the ones that are a little bit the hardest to figure out to line up. However, if you just get them so that they're mostly not sticking out, they're going to do what they need to do, and they will not be out of alignment with the die. But these ones don't have any area where they haven't been colored in. So that's not a place where you can line up like some of our other stencils. So best option when you're doing a detail layer like this is just to get it all in the green. Just make sure it's all within that first green layer and you are good to go. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Susie. All right, that is clean enough. So let's go ahead and get this final stencil layer ink blended here. All right, so I'm going to start down here at the bottom, and I am going to ink blend darker at the base and then just kind of blend it out into the outlier leaves just to give that a little bit more depth and dimension. And that is pretty much how I will tack all of these leaf detail layers. This one's a little different. I just kind of give it a nice circle and I ink blend the ones at the top a little bit lighter. Okay. Hopefully the coloring is still okay. I know it's starting to get a little dark here, but I'm looking at it on YouTube and it looks fine on my phone. So hopefully we're still good. All right. Yeah, Patricia, unless you have a budding florist or botanist, most little boys probably don't want flowers on their cards. All right. Okay, I think we're good on that. Let's get this cleaned off a little bit so I don't get green all over my fingers. So when I end the live stream, I'm not going to bore you with cleaning of all of my stuff here. But at the end of this, I have a bottle of just normal rubbing alcohol that you get at, like, you know, I get mine at Target, your local pharmacy, wherever. I keep that in a spray bottle that I mark with a strawberry. That's how I know it's alcohol. I also have it written on the bottom. I keep it in a spray bottle on my desk, and I will just spritz each stencil down a few times with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and then wipe it down with that same dry microfiber cloth, and it gets off any ink residue that you might have on the stencils, but then they also dry instantly. So I can either go ahead and put them away, or I can use them again and they're ready to go. You don't have to wait for them to dry, or you don't have to dry them with a cloth. So, but if that's not your jam, you don't want to have alcohol on your desk, or you would rather not use it, that's totally fine as well. And you can wipe them down with baby wipes, take them to the sink and wash them off with a little bit of warm water. Lots of options on that. I've heard some people say some stamp cleaners work well, but I like to save my stamp cleaners, my homemade stamp cleaner, for my stamps, and then rubbing alcohol works great. Okay, let's go ahead and get this guy tossed back in to our Misty here. Thank you guys, I appreciate that. Hi, I'm hopefully I say this correctly. Bronwyn, I don't think I've seen you yet in the comments. So hi, thank you. I appreciate it. It's possible I butchered your name. If so, let me know. Okay, so I'm putting this back in here. I'm going to look at it real quick and make sure that that image still lines up nice and perfectly with my initial stamped image. And it sure does. So once again, I'll make sure that it's nice and lined down in that, the left corner here. I pulled it off screen a little bit. Okay. One more quick check. Yeah, we are good. Okay. So now I'm going to take our detail black ink. So this is alcohol marker and watercolor friendly, but as you can see, it's hybrid. So what that means is it needs time to dry. And that's why I didn't stamp with it initially, because if I had stamped with it initially and then ink blended over top of it, I would have smudged that black ink all over. It would have gotten onto my blending brushes. It'd have been a hot mess. So you can stamp your panel first and let it dry, dependent upon your climate. If you've got some humidity, you actually may need to heat set it. But mostly, if you want to use a panel in detail black, like a hybrid, and this is any hybrid ink, not just ours, you will need to let it dry. So that's why I like this technique where you stamp first in just a gray or any color really of ink, and then you just restamp it. Now, of course, when you restamp, you always run the risk of it possibly having gone out of alignment. I know Heather, that happened to Heather this week live, but she was a pro and she got it. She busted out a quick, and I think it was a 6-layer stencil set that she busted out and did it. She's a pro though. She's a fast crafter. All right, that looks pretty good, but I am a super soft stamper. So I'm going to stamp it one more time just to give it a little bit crisper of an impression. I see right here where I did not stamp well at all. So I will focus on that section. And actually I see where I didn't even press on it. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this one more time in this detail black ink just to make it even crisper, because I am such a light stamper. I'm glad you were able to catch me live too, Bronwyn, and I'm really happy that I pronounced your name right. So happy to hear that. Oh no, Teresa. That sounds like a nightmare. When I have to go back in, I think either this coming Friday, it might be this coming Friday. It's my 4-week surface check to see if what she has me doing is helping. And I do think it is. So I think that this is probably what we'll continue with. I don't think I'm going to need to go with the more invasive stuff, but Teresa, that has been like my biggest anxiety of if it wasn't going to heal with what she was currently having me do. I was really worried. So now my anxiety more lies in like, how do I make sure this doesn't happen again? Okay, that, you guys, is perfect. Let me show you how beautiful and crisp that black line is now. I love it. Oh, just love it. Okay, real quick, I am going to clean my stamp because I don't want that hybrid detail black ink to stick on there. So this is handmade stamp cleaner that I make. The recipe is in the FAQs on the Pinkfresh Studio website. I'm gonna clean that. I'm gonna, spray that down nice and generously. And then this is just a wet lint-free cloth. I'm going to get in here and do my best to get as much of it off as I can right now. I'll probably come back in when we're done and work on it a little bit harder. But we'll get at least this initial bit off here. Oh, wow, Teresa, a cornea transplant. Gracious. That is crazy. At least we know they can do those sort of things. All right, so after this live, I will come in here and I will clean this a little bit more, clean it a bit more. I'll get all of that excess ink off. I keep a toothbrush at my desk and I'll put some cleaner in there and I'll just give it a nice good scrub to get the stamp looking back to when it looked when it was brand new almost. It will have a little bit of that black, detail black residue, but I like to scrub, scrub, scrub. That's awesome to hear, Teresa. I'm glad you were doing great with that. That is really, really fantastic. Okay. So now I think actually what I'm going to do is I do want to foil a background. So I'm going to go ahead and get my foil machine out and get it heating up. It is going to take a little bit of time. I probably should have started heating that up when we were doing some stenciling. I didn't think about it. So what I'll do is I'm going to set it off to the side here while it heats up. And we will work on getting these flowers cut out. So first things first, I'm going to trim the edges off. So I'm going to just grab my paper trimmer here real quick. And I'm going to trim it down on each edge just a little bit. So it's just a little bit thinner going through my machine. And then you're going to see something that I do now that I have changed up my Gemini plates. Now I shared this in the washi tape class too. So this, if you watched our washi tape 101 class, you've already seen me do this. But essentially, I changed my Gemini plates to those double-sided plates because I was having such bad issues with the warping. And this has been so much better. So I taped one of those double-sided. Now this one I flipped over, but it still works wonderfully. But you'll see I've taped them each to a cutting, just a clear cutting plate. However, I love this option so much. It makes my plates last way longer, but it does, it made my cutting surface smaller. And I do have one of those big Gemini die cut machines, but I don't really actually like to pull it out all of that often because it's bulky. It doesn't really fit in my space. I cannot wait for the day that either Gemini or Spellbinders brings out a set of extended plates, because then that Gemini is going to be sold or given away or something because it just doesn't really fit in my crafting area. So instead, what I do now is I cut my panel in half, and I just cut it out in 2 sections. Now, some people might be like, well, then what's the point of the one-piece die? Well, I mean, I see that point. However, I'm just making it work based on the tools that I have now and the way that my area is set up. Now, if Spellbinders or Gemini ever comes out with extended plates, or if I ever get a different machine that has longer plates that I don't have to do this for, then that's fine. I will go back to cutting in just one swoop through my die cut machine. But because these plates work better for me this way, I don't mind doing it in 2 pieces. Now I guess you should turn your machine on, Leah. Now the other thing is some people find that they have a hard time lining up these big one-piece dies. And if you ever notice or find yourself feeling that same way, I actually might suggest that you do this anyway. Sometimes big dies shift in die cut machines. It's not a perfect science. It happens. It absolutely happens. I know that I have actually done a really bad job lining up my dies in the past on these. So I might suggest, if you ever notice that you're struggling with lining up these larger dies, try this and you may have a little bit easier of a time. Yeah, so, and there are definitely some machines out there that do already have the nice extended plates. I think like there are some Sizzix machines, but I don't have any Sizzix machines. I have a Platinum 6 and I have a Gemini Junior. And like I mentioned, I do have the big Gemini, but it's just cumbersome and bulky and the plates warp really bad. So it's just not my favorite thing. And I don't love breaking it out all the time. Right now I have to break it out if I want to use slimline product. So I did choose not to do a slimline card today for that purpose. But yeah, there are some machines that have extended plates already, and that is perfect for using these big dies. But for now, I don't mind doing it in 2 sections. All right. Oh, Wendy, so I did not know that the Empress had extended plates. That's awesome. Okay, so there we have all of our floral elements cut out here. Oh, poor guy. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure there's not any I don't like to put my dies away until I have extracted all of the little chads out of them, because then you don't run the risk of it like die cutting funny. So some of these have little cutouts in the middle that I just need to get out. So let's get those out too. All right. Okay, I think I got all the little middles cut out, and it looks like my foil machine is also warmed up. So perfect timing. So let's go ahead and just put these to the side for now. And I am going to get, so here's my foil machine. All right, so you see it is warmed up. We are going to use the diamond plate today. However, I need to set it up on my panel a little bit. So this is just a normal, oh, where did it go? So this is just a normal 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel of white cardstock. And I want to use this the biggest nested diamond on it. So I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of a washi tape hinge, because I want it, I want to just be able to die cut out the middle of it. So I think I'm going to have to do a little bit of a washi tape hinge method on this guy. So let's go ahead and create that hinge up here at the top. Not that much washi tape. Let's go a little less on that. Okay. And then, so then what we'll do is we will cut our foil down. Just trying to decide what color foil I want to use. I think we're going to go with my workhorse. We're going to go with Aura, which is the gold that has a little bit of the rainbow iridescent shine to it. And I am just going to make sure that it covers edge to edge here. We'll just trim it down. You could definitely be more scientific about this. Use a trimmer. I'm just going to use some scissors. Call it good. Okay, so we've got that on here. We've got enough room edge to edge. So then, oh, I'm almost out of Aura. Looks like I'm going to need to open another. Oh, actually, I think I have one. Never mind. Oh, thank you, Wendy. I love to hear that. Okay. So then we are going to just make sure that this is staying in place and where I want it. And then I'm going to washi tape it to this side too, because I don't want it to move on me when I take the platform or the platform off the base. So now that we have the foil lined up underneath it, although I think, hold on, I just noticed the foil is not far enough up under this one edge. So give me a sec here. I want to make sure. There we go. Okay. And if it doesn't fully foil, we can just put flowers over it. It's fine. All right. So with that, normally I would just slap the hot foil plate on there, let it heat up, and do this all second. But because I know I wanted this to be more centered on this, because I'm going to keep it on the panel, I was a little bit fussier. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my timer button and let it heat up. While I'm doing that, I'm going to just grab my Platinum 6 here real quick. I don't have a whole lot of space on my video angle, so we'll have to shift some things out of the way once it's all said and done and ready to go. My plates while I'm thinking about it. So I foiled my plates this month or last month when we were getting ready for this release. So just so you know, if you foiled your plates in the past, you're not alone.
All right, I'm just gonna wait for this to finish heating up. And then we will mostly be just doing a little bit of finishing up of die cutting and then assembly. I think my husband said my Yorkie has a little bit of an upset tummy. Poor little guy. Okay, timer is off. Okay, so I'm gonna push this over a little bit. Ooh, sorry about that. And then I'm gonna pull it off the base. Because I have a new platinum, I no longer need any shims when I'm doing hot foiling. I did used to on my older Platinum 6, I did need a paper shim in there when running it through, but this newer machine has more pressure. So I'm just going to run it through my machine nice and slow. And I don't ever feel like it needs a second pass through. So I just go through one way, and then, you know, if it didn't work out or it didn't get a good foil job on it, it's totally okay. I'll just redo it. But I think we're good. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, that looks real nice. There's like one tiny little thing that underfoiled, and you know what? I'll just stick something over top of it. So then I will keep this piece because later on I have a whole stack of stuff over here that I need to use my solid hot foil plate, and I will foil this with my solid plate at a later time. So if you have our solid foil plate, don't toss it because it still is perfectly usable. Now, one thing that I found is sometimes our bigger hot foil plates, it's easier if you just use your Misty magnet to remove it from the hot foil base. I feel like sometimes, especially our hot foil plates are a little big and a little heavy, so they can be a little cumbersome that way. Okay. Platinum put away. I am going to shut my foil machine off because I don't need it anymore. You're going to go ahead, and one thing I also found is if you have a glass mat or you use a glass mat, if you put your hot foil plates directly on that, they cool off super quick. Like it's already cool to the touch. I can actually already put it away. So just a fun little tip for you if you use a glass mat. Okay, so I am going to take this and I am going to just die cut out the middle because I just want this to be like a window. I'm not going to make a shaker. I just want it to give that nice shadowing that a window like that that like a window produces on your card. They do have lots of pretty foil colors, and I am slowly collecting most of them. However, I tend to use Aura mostly. But I've been venturing out. I've been venturing out a little bit past Aura, but it's definitely still like my fave. Okay, and I'm gonna switch back to my Gemini. It's just easier for me than having to crank. So I pretty much use my Platinum 6 as well, Wendy, only for hot foiling. And so here's hoping that this new one will also, the pressure will stay nice and good so that oh, look at how perfect that is. I love the matte that die leaves on the inside. Oh, so fun. I love it. Oh, that might have stuck. Oh no, we're good. So I don't toss anything. So I'll put this in my scrap pile, and you know, I can stamp a sentiment to it and cut it out, or use it as a, you know, cut a layer die out of it. So I'm frugal. I'm not cheap, but I am frugal. So I also think that I want to add a little bit of interest to this background. I wasn't planning on doing this, so I haven't pulled it out, but it's pretty close to me right here. So it won't take me too long to actually grab it out. Put the nested diamonds away.
we take this lovely, one of my favorite cover plate guys that we have come out with. And let's go ahead and cut a piece. Cut one of these out to go in the background. Tape it there. Hi, Debbie. So we are kind of getting towards the end. I'm a little over. I started at 6, but I'm just kind of a slower crafter. So I knew it wasn't going to be just in an hour. So we're kind of coming to the end, but it will be available for replay pretty much right after I hit the end live stream. So then we have, I thought this would just be a nice little touch in the background. Oh yeah, that's going to be super pretty. Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to trim that off. And put that in my scraps as well. Now, finally, I've got just a little bit more die cutting to do because I still want to mount these on a colored card base. So I'm going to actually trim them down with our largest stitched rectangle. This way I know that they'll be this, you know, each edge will be nice and straight. I'll have that nice little stitched finish. So I want to have that because I want this to mount. Oops, that's not what I want. I want this to mount within a card base. Thank you, Donna. Yeah, Ruth, that is like my favorite cover plate. I just love it. And then also this allows me to actually line this up a little bit more because it wasn't perfectly centered when I placed it down on when I foiled it. I did my best, but you know, I wasn't measuring or anything. So it wasn't like perfectly centered. Wouldn't have been a huge deal if I used it as is, but this does allow me to get a little bit better centering on it. Okay, it looks like a lot of people that the sparkling diamond is their favorite. Well, I'm just going to give you guys this as a hint. I think if the sparkling diamond die is one of your favorites, you're going to love our next release. And I'm just going to leave it at that. All right, so now we've got a nice, beautiful stitched edge. I'm going to just cut it out with the stitched edge doesn't even matter on this layer because it's not going to be seen. But this will just make it so that I know these two panels will be exactly the same size. All right, just making sure it's nice and centered. And I feel like the lighting still looks okay, but you guys let me know if it feels like it's too dark and I can just bump up the brightness. But I still feel, I'm watching it on my phone and it still looks like it's okay. But you guys just let me know. Oh, Ruth, I do understand. I do completely understand. I feel the same way about the greenery. I have to really control myself because I just don't get a lot of extra time to use other companies. But man, Betsy kills me. She creates some such pretty products. All right, so we've got our backgrounds. And now I just got to find my card base color that I want. I think I know. Yeah, we're going to use this nice peachy tone to match the peach tone colors. So I'm going to go ahead and get my squirt thing out. And base created here. We always say at Pinkfresh Studio to just make sure that you pick your very, very favorite things because you know that you're probably not going to be able to get to the entire release. So we always try to suggest that people pick like their very, very favorites. All right. Okay, so we've got that. We've got this. And I think that's going to be just like a little lovely peek through. So then I have these pieces and I'm probably not even going to end up using the wreath. It's unlikely because I think I'm going to end up just kind of tucking some flowers in here and there, just so I don't completely cover up the foiling that we just did. Actually, better this way. Yeah. So that's going to be the premise of this, is we're just going to kind of tuck florals in here and there. But let's go ahead and get this glued down first things first. Uh-oh, Teresa. Yeah, the greenery. It's just stunning product. So look with caution because you may just fall in love. All right, I'm just using a little bit of liquid glue here to glue this down. Oh, Debbie, I'm actually not using the washi tape. I used the stamp and the stencil today. So it's misleading because the name of it is Rainbow Floral. That's the name of the entire product suite. But I used the stamp and stencils today to color the images in my own colors. So I used the combination of pinks and coral reds and greens for the greenery. All right. And then this guy is going to be popped up with some foam. So let's go ahead and get that on here. Some scissors. That will stick out too much. Me too, Roxanne. Love Betsy so much. She's so fantastic. She's so sweet too. I love that she started her own company. I think she's got really fun ideas and she's really got her own signature style. And I love that about it because I think Pinkfresh has that same thing. We've kind of got our own signature style going on. So I really commend that and appreciate that when I see it in other companies. So, all right, just get that on there. And I might need to add a couple more chunks of foam tape in here just so that I don't get any sagging. Nobody likes a saggy card. This one I did not line up very well. There we go. Sorry if I maybe was applying foam adhesive off camera. I'm not completely sure. Sometimes I just get going in my own zone and I forget that I am supposed to be doing stuff inside of my camera view. All right. Oh, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate it. I'm glad you like my color scheme. Love, love, love the rainbow washi tape, but you weren't here when I mentioned this. I hadn't actually had a chance to use the stamp and stencil yet. And so when I asked the question of what people wanted to see today on live, I did get a lot of Rainbow Florals requests, and then I did get some stamps and layering stencils requests. So kind of a perfect combo because I hadn't used them yet. And I did want to use them. So just kind of perfect timing. All right, so then we're going to end up tucking these beautiful floral elements in here and there. And there are some I may end up not using just because I don't know that I need to use all of them. And then I think tonight I am going to end up using, nope, don't like that there at all. That's better. Yeah, so I think we're gonna just kind of flank that right side. I think I'm gonna end up probably not using these 3 pieces. I'll just set them aside and I'll turn them into another card. Wendy is saying that Pinkfresh is now her style as well, which I agree. It totally is. So I think, friends, for tonight, I'm going to use one of our pre-done sentiments. So we just recently released this Rainbow Sentiments. They're not foiled. They're just colorful. But I also have these other foiled sentiments that we released a while, a little longer ago. But I think that is what I'm going to pull for my sentiments here. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to have a sentiment. So I'm just going to look through these. So I really like but it's kind of big, but it could fit down here and I could move that little sprig. So that's an option. No. No. Oh, thanks, guys. Nope, the green doesn't match well enough. Oh, this one might be good. Have gratitude. No. Okay, so that's an option. I hope you are smiling today. And I absolutely love that sentiment as well. I think that's such a fun sentiment, encouraging sentiment to send to someone. But then we have these beautiful gold foiled sentiments in this pack. So I do try to separate them into the two because this one is a mixture of gold and silver, and I don't want silver today. And I do want it to be more scripted. No. Let's see. Best wishes. That's always a nice one. Be happy and smile. That one's kind of fun. No. Okay, so it's between these ones. Let's see here. So we've got the I hope you are smiling today, which is kind of in a shade of orange that matches the flowers. We've got the be happy and smile, which might be a little big for this card, but it's gold foiled, so it matches the foiling. And then the best wishes sentiment, which is also gold foiled and can kind of fit anywhere on the card. Let me know if you guys have any preferences. Ruth says she likes the finer script. Yeah, that one is really nice. And it could kind of overlap. All right, well, I think I might end up doing best wishes. I think I might agree. And then it can really be sent for anything, to be honest. I do like be happy and smile too, Susie, but I feel like it's a little bit big for me. I love the sentiment, but I think that it might just be a little bit big. All right, I think I'm going with best wishes because then I can use it for anything. I can use it for birthday. I can use it for an anniversary, a wedding, an engagement. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've got an idea of what I want this to look like. Let's go ahead and get this adhered down. Oops, stuck to my finger. I know a lot of people use like little picks or tweezers, but I just find it's so much easier for me just to use my fingers. Make sure that, and I'm actually going to flip this because I noticed I wanted to cover up that tiny little flaw that happened in my foiling. And I had it flipped on the other side and I ended up I'm not putting any of those flowers on the other side. So I'm going to flip it so I can cover up that small little flaw. Okay, so we've got that. Perfect. Do y'all have to second guess yourself to make sure you're not adhering stuff upside down? I do that all the time, and I actually do have some cards that I 100% adhered upside down and I never fixed them. So they literally just sit in my pile of cards on, this I think was down further. Yeah. they sit in my pile of cards unfixed. All right, so then for adhering this down, I'm going to fluff the flowers. A lot of people say zhuzh, but I kind of have a hard time saying that. And then there's the whole conversation about how you spell it. So I have changed it to going to fluff the flower edges up a little bit. And then I'm just going to add some liquid glue kind of down the middle, down the center. And we are going to just tuck that little leaf in there. Just hold it in place for a second. Let that, yeah, Jennifer, I definitely have to cut the card front off and then just adhere it to another card. And it's kind of a real thick card base. Sometimes I just leave it until I'm going to actually send it somewhere. Okay. This glue does not want to stay glued down. I think it's because it's trying to glue to foil and that's a little finicky sometimes. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and fluff this guy. Same as before. Okay. And we're just going to tuck this one in here a bit. Suzanne, I'm not even getting into that. I can spell fluff, F-L-U-F-F. Okay, so there's that one. And then let's put the little berry sprig up here. Ooh, maybe more like that. Yeah. Okay. That. And this is where I get kind of quiet because I feel like when you're placing down elements like this, it's where I have to concentrate the most. Okay, so then best wishes. I am going to put a little bit of foam tape on the part that overlaps with the frame, just so it's not saggy. So I kind of need to do it from the T out down here. Okay. And then maybe just a little bit over here. Oh, your cat is named Fluff? That is super cute. I love it. My dogs are named Bailey and Sadie. They have just typical names. Great. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue. Oh, Jennifer, the Nested Diamonds are like one of my favorite sets that came out. Okay, so I want to make sure that's within here. So then I do want to add this final little sprig, and I think we're going to tuck it in here somehow. Let's see, maybe I shouldn't have glued that down so much. There we go. There we go. Okay. Tucked in there. Okay. So finally, I'm just going to add some jewels, a couple of jewels here and there to this. And this card is complete. I can decide if I want to do, I might do our sparkling champagne pearls. They're going to look funny when you're looking at them in the little holder. Once you have them turned around and they are actually on your card. They pretty much go with anything. They don't seem like they're neutral, but they actually really are very, very neutral. So I'm going to do a little trio down here. Like that. And then I think I'll do one. Oh, hold on. Need a little guy. Need a little guy. One in here. So like that. And like this. You know what? I don't love that trio, so I think I'm going to do it up here like this so that it can actually, yeah, I like that much better. There we go. Your dog is named Waffle? Okay, so we've got a cat named Fluff. Debbie has Coco and Zuzu. Jennifer has a dog named Waffle. I love that. That's the cutest name. Oh, Waffle. I love it. Jennifer, if we can ever figure out why Patreon, if we can get fixed why they won't let us share photos and comments, hopefully they'll get back to me this week on my help ticket. You can share a photo of your puppies or your puppy with me. Okay, well, friends, that is my card for today. So here is where you get true Leah crafting, because I did not prep one thing beforehand other than picking out, you know, some of the products that I knew I wanted to use. So this is true Leah crafting. I'm a little slow, but I enjoy the process, and I'm so glad that you guys joined me tonight. Yeah, the pearls initially were from our Create and Connect event last November, and then I think we released them in December in our store, and they're super beautiful. Like, look at how perfect they match this card, and they match pretty much every card I've ever put them on. Okay, we've got a cat named Miss Abby and a dog named Benny. Cats named Neo and Orion. I love it. So cute. I love knowing everybody's pets' names. I think that's so fun. All right, friends. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. What a great way to end a weekend. Gotta love ending a weekend being crafty and getting to spend some time with crafty friends. I'm gonna flip my camera around real quick and say goodbyes and all that fun stuff. So bear with me real quick while I get this switched around here. All right, yeah, this camera face is gonna be real bad because it's my negative laptop camera and it's gotten real dark. So, but my front facing camera is not as important as this one is. So thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me. I really, really appreciate it. If you missed the beginning, of course, this will be available for replay pretty quickly afterwards. And then people that were here from the very beginning already heard this, so this is just a repeat for you. But I did want to let you guys know that registration went live last Friday for my first virtual craft night that I'm offering. You can get all of the details after there's a supply list that listed out most of the things I used tonight. But at the end of it, so if you scroll all the way down in the video description, I added 2 links. One was to the registration for my April virtual craft night. It is on Friday, April 29th. I'm super excited. It's my first one. I have a lot of fun things planned. So I'm hoping you'll join me. It is $7.99 to register. And what you get with that is 3 scheduled Zoom chat and craft sessions. I have some stuff planned for each one. I think it's going to be real fun. There's going to be a challenge or challenges. All of that is, if you click on the registration link, there's an FAQ underneath it that answers probably pretty much any question you might have. So the number of challenges is based on the number of registered attendees, because they all have prizes that I need to buy and such for them. So there will be at least 1 challenge, and then it just depends. It goes up from there based on the number of registered attendees.
So challenges will be easy to accomplish. You'll have a week to be able to accomplish them. And then the next weekend after, I'll announce the winner. And then there are also going to be some fun printable options that I offer up that you can use as you see fit. You can print them yourself. You can get them printed at a printer, and they just will make for really easy cards. And I'm going to have some fun ideas for you guys in one of the chat and craft sessions on how to use those printables. I'm loving how they're turning out so far. I'm not quite done designing them yet. Now, when I say design, I did not design like the watercolor pieces. I bought a commercial license for those because that is not my thing. So what I'm doing is I am taking those pieces that I have a commercial license for, and I am turning them into panels and such. So I'm excited for how they turned out. So that registration link is at the end of my post. And then also there's a link to my Patreon community. Tiers 2 through 4 get either a deeper discount. Pardon me, got a little stuffed up there. To the virtual craft night, or that's tier 2. Tiers 3 and 4, they actually get free access. So tier 3 is probably the best value in terms of everything you get, because you get the free access and then some other goodies, some other exclusive stuff as well. So friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. We used rainbow. This is never going to show up well. This camera is awful, especially at nighttime. Used the Rainbow Florals, but in my own color scheme. And other than that, guys, that's everything that I have for you this evening. I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. I am going to go get some dinner. And oh, thank you, Bronwyn. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing your comment. I appreciate that. That is such a nice comment. I appreciate that so much. And then one final thing about my Patreon community. I'm growing it slowly and organically. There's just a few of us right now, but I'm excited about it. The reason why I wanted to start it is, one, I have been in this industry a long time. And so I do have a lot of knowledge, and I have a lot of advice, and I have a lot of just stuff that I can share with you. And I thought a Patreon community that would feel safer for me and more comfortable, and also pays me a little bit as well for giving that knowledge. And then I also wanted to grow kind of this organic, smaller community. We've got our big community of paper crafting, and I just felt like it would be a nice, safe, fun space to grow a more closer connection with crafters. So that's kind of my reason for starting my Patreon community. So that's my, when I was envisioning this year and starting up stuff that's Leah Lawson Creates branded, not just Pinkfresh Studio branded, that was part of the flow. All right, friends, I've taken up enough of your time. We're closing in on the hour and 40-minute mark. So I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go have some dinner, read my book, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your night too. Talk to you later. Bye.